Relics of Memory. Relics is referred to fragments, things that are left from, it's part of something that is sacred, and I'm referring to my memory of my childhood in France. Obviously, I don't remember everything that happened when I was a little girl in France, and I used to go with my grandfather in the forest and pick up mushrooms, and he would know all the names of the birds and the plants and the clouds and the stars. It was wonderful. But I do remember a few things, and that's why I call it relics, because relic means fragments, also it means something sacred. And memory, because I recall sometime when I feel a little sad, I recall this wonderful time with my grandfather. The technique is called picote. Picote is P-I-C-O-T-E. And what is really interesting about that is last year I had like what they call in spirituality the dark night of the soul, when you don't know what to do, you're a little bit lost. And in April, I talked with Andy, who is the curator of the museum, and she said, Marthe, you are booked for May 8th. So I said, what? It was on a Thursday. I'm booked for May 8th, I know. And on Friday, I was looking, I have a lot of books at home, I was looking at a book that I had had for many, many years, maybe 2 years. And this book is about sacred representation of Jesus. As a matter of fact, there are reproduction of a card invitation that Catholics will give to their relatives or friends to invite them for baptism or for First Communion. And I see one, it was Jesus coming down from the cross, and there were a lot of holes, and it says, rare picoté du XVIIe siècle. I said, rare picoté from the 17th century. And when I read the word rare, I said, okay, if it's rare, it's for me. So I started, and you can see the evolution. Some of them are simpler, some of them are very basic. And I started developing a technique, and I didn't know either. The only thing I knew, at the beginning, I even worked with a needle. I used a needle, and it was really hurting. And then I found an instrument called an AWL that carpenters use. And it has a wood handle and then a sharp tool. And what I like about this picoté is that I'm very much into low tech. So it's not digital, it's not what the challenge is. You have a white piece of paper in front of you, and you have a sharp tool, and you have to create diversity with nothing. To me, I love that. So I invented many techniques. For example, I worked on one side, so I get a flat hole, and then I turn it, and I look at the other side, and I get the lifted. So the contrast of texture between the flat and the lifted. Also, if I poke a hole just at the tip of the instrument, I'll get a very small hole, and if I push it a little bit further, I get a bigger hole. So I've created all this diversity, and also I've added beads.
Tell me about this art piece. It's really hard to see because of the light, but this is a departure from the beginning of your picoté.
Exactly.
Would you consider this a mixed media art piece?
I would, but also when I was a little girl, I was fascinated by fashion. And as a matter of fact, I never played with dolls. I would make dresses with funny things that nobody would use at the time. And this reminds me of a wedding gown. I'm fascinated by the wedding gown, like even this one, you see, has to be very pristine. This one is called Mother Durga, which is Mother Nature in the Indian philosophy, mythology. And I like it because at the beginning, as a matter of fact, at the beginning, I was not really thinking about this. I started by this is a hand, and then I had the arms, and I had the legs. So it was supposed to be a person. And then it evolved into something else, and that's why I call it Mother Durga. I don't know exactly why. But I felt it had some type of Indian spirit, of the Hindu spirit.
It is not only a delicate process, but a time-consuming. How many hours do you an average per art piece? Because that one, you know.
Well, the problem is sometimes, like for example, this piece, I didn't have any problem. I started, and then I worked like maybe 5 times 8 hours non-stop, so it's 40 hours. And I knew where I was going, there was no problem. This one here, you can see it's symmetrical, but it's not exactly the same thing. See, this flower is not the same as that one. And I did that side, and then I was really in trouble, to do the other side. So I had to stop and then do some other thing. That for 2 weeks I wouldn't do anything until, so I leave it there, like you put in the freezer, and then you come back to it, and then you look at it differently, and you find ideas. So sometimes it's not like, okay, you start something and then you finish it immediately. No, this could be done in several parts. So when you ask the question about time, if I said that it took 1 month, it doesn't mean that it was 1 month every day, but it was maybe, I'm a full-time instructor, so I only work at night or work during the weekend. I don't have too much time.
One last question. These require a lot of concentration. Do you listen to music while you're doing your art pieces?
Not at all. It's complete silence. Complete silence. And when I start, I'm completely. I have no clue what's going on around. Even I don't eat or anything. It's like a nun or like being in a monastery in a cell.
You immerse yourself into
just
the
completely. I don't hear anything. I love my granddaughter and my daughter. They don't exist. Nothing exists. I'm just with this. I become just a hand and make poking holes, and that's it. So it's a very, very austere. But I just love it, and I love the idea that I'm creating something out of almost nothing. And even sometimes I have problems. Like this one, I didn't know what to do with the other, or I would make a mistake. Maybe I can show you another one.
Sure.
That there was a problem. And, this one here, you see here, it was a hole because I put a very bright color and I realized I had ruined the whole piece. So what to do? So I just cut a hole here and I say, now what am I going to do now with that hole? So I love this. Okay, so you have to think about it. You have to find a solution. How are you going to fix it? I love the challenge, and then I figure it out and nobody can tell, but it was a problem.
Well, nobody knew until right now.
Yeah, nobody now.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Well, thank you very much, and wish you good luck with this exhibit, which is very exquisite.
Well, thank you so
like
much.
everything you do, very amazing, and you keep surprising us more and more. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Edwin.